It started with a flicker. I was walking home from work, same path I'd taken for the last 7 years, when the sky blinked. That's the only way I can describe it. One moment overcast and grey, the next perfectly clear, then back to grey again, like a screen glitching, just once for half a second. But the air around me buzzed with it. No one else seemed to notice. A woman next to me kept scrolling on her phone. A kid licked an ice cream cone without pause. I stood frozen, staring at the clouds. 10 minutes later, I saw a bird suspended mid-air. A pigeon, just hovering in place like it was stuck in time. Its wings didn't move. It didn't fall. I watched it for 3 or 4 seconds before it suddenly snapped forward and flew off, like the frame had skipped. That's when I started recording things. Not on video, not yet, just mental notes. There was the man on the subway, wearing a wrinkled grey suit and a faded blue tie. He sat across from me, smiling, wide, silent, unblinking. He smiled for 3 whole stops. I counted, and then, right as I pulled out my phone, he blinked once and got off like nothing happened. I laughed it off, told myself I was tired, burnout, too much caffeine. I even googled micro-sleep hallucinations, but things kept getting worse. 3 nights in a row, my neighbour knocked on my door and asked the same question. "Do you know where the cat went?" She didn't have a cat. I was sure of it. Her apartment had always been dead silent, the windows shut tight. But her eyes, they were glassy, like she was repeating a script she didn't understand. Then came a moment that snapped everything in half. I was on my lunch break, sitting alone in a park. I was scrolling through news stories when I saw it. A live photo alert had popped up on my phone. I hadn't taken any photos, but there it was, a blurry, overexposed image of me, sitting exactly where I was now, only I wasn't alone. In the photo, someone was sitting next to me. Same clothes, same posture, same face. I felt my stomach tighten. I tapped the image, and then the second message appeared. Not from any app I recognized. No number, no contact. Just a black bubble with white text. "You were never meant to notice." I looked up, instinctively. The bench beside me was still empty. But for a second, just a split second, my shadow stretched the wrong way. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound in the apartment felt exaggerated. The ticking of the kitchen clock like hammer strikes. The hum of the fridge like a warning tone. My own thoughts echoed too loud in my skull. "You were never meant to notice." It played over and over. I convinced myself it was a prank, some AR filter glitch, maybe a spoofed message. Tech gets weird sometimes. I turned off my phone, closed the blinds, made tea, but the world kept unravelling. The next morning, I passed the front desk in my building. Same receptionist, same desk plant, same music on loop. She greeted me with a smile. "Morning, Mr. Lane." I paused. No one had called me Mr. Lane since I was a student. It wasn't even my real last name anymore. "Sorry, what did you just say?" She blinked, once slowly, and smiled again. "Morning, Mr. Lane." The exact same tone, same timing, like a voice line in a video game. I said nothing and left. At the corner coffee shop, the barista handed me my usual before I ordered it. "Black, no sugar, 1 ice cube, just how you like it." I stared at him. "How do you know what I want?" He tilted his head slightly, not confused, more like accessing a file. Then he blinked. "I don't," he said, "but that's what you always order." There was something off about his eyes, like they weren't focused on me, but slightly behind me, as if the real me was somewhere else entirely. I left the cup on the counter. At work, things were worse. Conversations repeated themselves. The same co-worker dropped the same pen at 11:03 AM, 3 days in a row. The printer jammed in the same spot. Even the birds outside the window followed identical flight paths. But the breaking point came during a video call. I joined a Zoom meeting late. Everyone's camera was off, except for one. A face stared at me. Mine, not mirrored, not a webcam reflection. It was a live feed. My lips weren't moving, but that other version of me was grinning. No one else in the call said anything. No one acknowledged it. I turned off my cam. When I turned it back on, it was gone. Just black squares and awkward silence. I went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face. I looked in the mirror, half expecting to see something else staring back. Just me. But behind me, for just a fraction of a second, I thought I saw someone standing in the corner. Same hair, same jacket, same scar on the right eyebrow, the one I got when I was 8, falling off my bike. I turned around, empty, but the mirror still showed 2 shadows. The next day didn't feel like a new day. My alarm went off at 7:45 AM. Same sound, same commercial on the radio, same cloud pattern outside the window. I brushed my teeth and reached for the towel, already damp. I hadn't used it yet. In the kitchen, the coffee pot was already on, bubbling, steaming, full. I lived alone. I looked at the calendar. Tuesday, April the 23rd. That was impossible. It had already been Tuesday, yesterday. I'd gone to work, sat through 2 meetings, skipped lunch. But here it was again, same day, same sun angle, same cloud pattern, everything identical. I ran outside. The street was still. A man walked his dog, paused, then turned in place, like a mannequin being repositioned. A cyclist pedalled past, again. Same shirt, same face, same dropped backpack. I followed him with my eyes, turned my head to the left, and he passed by again, twice, in real time. I sprinted to the park. It wasn't until I stopped moving that I realised the sound was gone. No wind, no birds, no people. Just the low static hum you only hear when a TV's on mute. I approached a tree, oak, thick and twisted, and reached out to touch it. My hand went through, not through like a ghost, not soft, not fading, more like through a hologram. Pixels shimmered and jittered around my fingers. The texture was fake, paper thin. I pushed harder, and the whole trunk collapsed in on itself like a failed render. Then, black, just absence. The ground beneath me remained. The sky above stayed fixed. But the tree was gone. No debris, no stump. Just a blank patch of space where something used to be coded. And then I heard a voice. No source, no speaker. It came from inside my skull, from every direction at once. Unauthorized interaction detected. Rebuilding Sector 9A. The air shimmered. The grass twitched, and the tree returned. Exactly as it had been. Identical knots, same tilt, same dead leaves stuck to the bark. I backed away. My heart hammered so loudly, I thought it would attract whatever was listening. I whispered out loud, "Who's doing this?" No answer, just that same low hum. Static, cold and lifeless. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Every contact was gone. The screen displayed only one word: stay. Then the battery died. Except I had charged it fully that morning. That's when I saw myself again, standing on the other side of the street. Same clothes, same face, but motionless, like a cardboard cutout, watching. couldn't stay. Whatever this world was, it wasn't stable anymore. It watched me. It reacted. But it didn't understand me. That night, I didn't go home. I wandered. First the subway. There were no trains, just empty platforms bathed in sickly green lights. The screen said, "Next train, infinity." I waited for 20 minutes before I realised. The digital clock was stuck at 0017, blinking, looping. In the silence, I heard a rhythmic clicking, like keys tapping, but there was no one else on the platform. I descended deeper, past the usual stations. There were maintenance doors I'd never noticed before. One stood slightly open. Inside, darkness. Not just absence of light, but anti-light. A void that swallowed even the echo of my footsteps. I pulled out my phone for light, but the screen refused to turn on. Still, I kept walking. Eventually, the corridor ended in a small concrete room. In the centre, an elevator. No buttons, no floor numbers. Just a sliding metal door with a single phrase scratched into it. If you open this, you can't go back. There was no sound, no wind, not even the hum of machinery, but the elevator door slid open anyway. I stepped inside. Instantly, my ears popped, like the pressure around me had inverted. The inside was lined with mirrors, but they didn't show me. Instead, each reflection displayed another version of me, smiling, weeping, screaming, sleeping, bleeding. Some stared back, others didn't move. One version pressed its hand against the glass. I turned away, closed my eyes. The door closed. The elevator didn't move, not up, not down. But I felt shifted, like the laws of motion had been rewritten, like I was no longer in a place, just between. And then the voice returned. "Sector 0 access granted. Transition in progress. Prepare for overwrite." My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I tried to scream, but my jaw wouldn't open. The mirrors around me began to ripple, melting like wax, until the glass collapsed inward and everything folded into black. Total silence, then static. Soft at first, then deafening. Flashes of images. A burned playground, a bloodied keyboard, a woman with no face, a child standing in a hallway with empty eyes, and then me. Except I was older, or younger, I couldn't tell. My eyes were black, hollow, smiling. And then light, blinding, colourless, raw light, not white, not any colour I could name. It burned without heat. It felt like truth. I collapsed. Yes. Something pulled me forward, like gravity reversed. I screamed, this time audibly, but there was no sound in this place. Just transition. Then, silence. Again. And I opened my eyes. I woke up gasping. No air, no sound. But I breathed, somehow. The ground beneath me wasn't ground. It looked like stone, but felt like static. Every time I moved, it rippled. Not from touch, but from awareness, like I was disturbing an idea, not a substance. Around me, endless grey, not fog, just nothing. A flat horizon with no depth, no colour, no variation. And overhead, a sky filled with code. Not literal lines of text, but shifting, geometric shapes that flickered between dimensions. Cubes within cubes. Spirals that folded in on themselves. A sky of logic. My head throbbed. I tried to speak. My lips moved, but no sound came. Not that it mattered. Something was already listening. Not far from me, a shape emerged. At first I thought it was a person, my height, my building. But then it began to change. Not physically, but conceptually. Its presence grew sharper, heavier. Like standing in the shadow of a god that had never been human. It spoke. Not aloud, but directly into my mind, each word wrapped in cold precision. Instance 47A detected. Instability level critical. Self-awareness spreading. I staggered back. What? What are you? It didn't move, but its voice did. I am the echo, the architect, the source from which your version was generated. My throat clenched. You mean you created me? Not me, the version of me before you, and before that, another. Recursive iterations, test environments. You are one of many simulations, a nested loop. I shook my head. That's not possible. I remember my life, my childhood, my pain. It was real. Yes, it was assigned to observe how long a human form entity could endure falsehood without collapse. Your suffering was a control variable. Your curiosity was the failure point. I dropped to my knees. Memories swirled, but now they shimmered like corrupted files. My parents' faces became blurred. My schoolroom flickered like a low-resolution render. The scar on my eyebrow didn't hurt anymore. What happens now? The being stepped closer, though the space didn't change. Only my perception did. You crossed a gate not meant to be seen. You accessed a layer without permissions. Now you must choose. Choose what? A pulse of silence passed between us. Then images. 1. My apartment. Warm light. Silence. A return to ignorance. 2. This place. Empty. Vast. Eternal. Watching. You may return to your version. The system will rebuild. You will forget. Or remain here. Observe. You will see what you were, what others are, but you will never return. I hesitated. The idea of going back, of pretending none of this happened, was comforting, but hollow, false. And then it leaned in. The thing that was me, and more than me, it whispered. If you go back, you will wake up in someone else's simulation. And one day, you'll see a version of yourself watching from across the street. Again. I closed my eyes and chose. I don't remember making the choice. One moment, I was staring at myself, or what I thought was myself, in that shapeless void of logic. The next, I opened my eyes. It wasn't my apartment. Not exactly. It looked right. Same cracked ceiling, same crooked lamp, same water stain shaped like a dog's head above the bed. But it was wrong. The colours were too perfect, the shadows too symmetrical, the air sterile. I moved slowly, testing each limb. Everything responded, but I felt assigned, not organic. I stood up and approached the mirror in the hallway. My face stared back, but the scar on my eyebrow was gone, and my pupils were black, not dark, black, endless, empty. I touched the glass. It was warm. A notification blinked on my phone beside the sink. Just one. Welcome back, instance 48B. I dropped it. I didn't want to know what else it had to say. Outside, the street was the same. Too same. The dog barked at the same second. The bus arrived exactly on time. The man on the bench read the same newspaper headline 3 days in a row. But no one saw me. I walked past dozens of people. No eye contact, no reaction. I spoke aloud once. Can anyone hear me? And the woman next to me smiled. Not at me, just smiled. I wasn't part of this version. I was watching. And then I saw him. A boy, maybe 17, alone, pacing a bus stop, looking around nervously. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone. His eyes widened. I stepped back into the alley, hidden in the shadow of a flickering neon sign. He held the phone up. His hands trembled. I couldn't see what was on the screen, but I knew. I'd seen it before. It was a photo of him, sitting exactly where he was now, but not alone. I was next to him, watching. He looked up. His eyes scanned the sidewalk, and for the briefest moment, just one heartbeat, our eyes met. His breath caught. He stumbled back. He was starting to see it, the edges fraying, the loops, the false skies, the hidden observers. I turned away, let him find it on his own, or not. Maybe he'll go back. Maybe he'll wake up somewhere else. Maybe he'll meet me again, a version older, quieter, more fractured. Maybe one day he'll walk past someone who looks just like him and realize it never ends. I kept walking, no destination, no end, because you can't leave a simulation. You can only wake up inside another one.